part of a larger design. And you gotta pay attention, because if you mess up and you don't notice till later, then you gotta undo hours, days, even months of work. I mean, it's no joke. It takes years to develop the mastery of beadwork, and each year you gotta remaster it again.
Hi, and welcome to Kelly, where we talk about life, your life and my life, and through Kelly we hope to inspire. I have Miles Mussenden on the show today. He is Otis in Cloak and Dagger Marvel series. So we're going to talk about that, we're going to talk about acting, and we're going to talk about the future.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm doing wonderful, excited to be here.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So tell us about Cloak and Dagger.
Ooh, Cloak and Dagger is a story of two teens from very different backgrounds. It's an African-American boy, my son, who plays Tyrone Johnson, Cloak, and Dagger is a Caucasian female, and they're both in their teens, and they find themselves awakened to these new superpowers in their teen years, but they're linked together from a traumatic event that happened when they were kids. So now, in conjunction with dealing with all these things you have to deal with as a teenager, they have superhero powers on top of that, you know. So, but what I love about this series is that they really, you go into their lives. It's not just about people flying around in pantyhose. You know, you have lives. These teenagers have real lives. We're dealing with this is really gritty, raw, and we're dealing with current things that are happening in teens' lives that they deal with today.
And when does it? It's already started.
Mm-hmm. It started June 7th, and we are every Thursday on Freeform.
Yay!
Yeah, 8 p.m.
So, did you ever imagine that you would be a part of the Marvel family?
Ooh, well, you know, I did some small things with Marvel.
Really?
You know, yeah, I did a couple of things. I worked on Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Okay.
And Luke Cage. So just little small, you know, parts in it. So I mean, I loved it, but I don't know. It wasn't necessarily on my radar that I would, you know, get that opportunity, because it's rare. You know what I mean? It's rare. So I mean, to be part of the family like long term.
Yeah.
So, you know,
I watched your whole live when you went to the Avengers.
red carpet.
Yes.
Okay.
I was so excited.
Yeah, I try to share that stuff with the people, you know, in the Atlanta market, because, I mean, you know, how many of us really get the opportunity to get to that next level and you know, be on the red carpet and get mentioned with the stars and all that kind of stuff. So
it's such a wonderful way to give back.
Yeah.
And that way, you know, you get to control that. You don't have people like totally in your business, but you have people that can view that and learn from it. And I appreciated it. So thank you.
It always seems like a big mystery. So I said, let me demystify this stuff for the people.
Yes, I loved it. And your wife is just wonderful. She just goes along with So let's talk about acting, how you got into acting. You said you actually started, you did it when you were younger, but as an adult, it was in church that you got re-familiar with acting.
Yeah, I started as a kid, 9 years old in elementary school, you know, but I didn't really get serious about it again until I was an adult, and I was here in Atlanta. Going to church, and we were doing skits and little plays at the church, and that kind of, you know, kind of got the bug again. You know, I was sharing with you that the pastor of the church, I used to do skits before he would preach, and he said to discover, develop, and distribute. You know, so I felt like, okay, I rediscovered my passion for acting, and I'm developing it now to a point where I can distribute it at some point. And so yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed it. And I go at the time I was going to this big church, so there was a lot of people and all that kind of stuff. So it felt like a really big production, you know. And we did it in excellence, and it was good stuff.
You learn a lot through those productions, because you learn how to put it on, you learn how to promote it, you learn how. I mean, you really get to dabble in all aspects of the production. So you learn so much. Your first role was on Army Wives. And I watched your reel, and that one stood out to me more than any other on the reel. Were you in the military?
No, it was just a very strange thing. People always thought I was military.
Yes, it was so real.
From when I was a teenager, people always thought I was a military guy or a cop. I don't know what it is that gives off that, you know, that essence, you know, but apparently I just have that feel. And in Army Wives, it was funny because that role, I auditioned maybe 5 times for Army Wives. And that particular role, they were having a hard time casting that. So Man, it just, you know, I remember with my coach at the time, we did the role and we did the audition on tape.
Okay.
And the audition side said that, you know, he's detached or something to that effect. He's detached. So I can imagine an actor reading that and just kind of not, you know, kind of trying to just say the lines without feeling anything. And he was like, no, they're saying that because they don't want you to be like overly emotional with it. And, you know, you do care, you know, because somebody in the military died, you know, so I just gave it some feeling and, you know, and.
Well, what I loved about it, sitting on the other side of it, it resonated to me as if you were penetrating, you know, like you were saying it with care, but it was sounding, and another reason that stuck out to me, and I talk about this experience a lot, but my brother was captured in Iraq in 2003, so he was a POW, and we actually had the Army come to our door and pretty much say those words. At the time, we didn't know that he was alive, but so it resonated with me, and it resonated with truth, so very, very good.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad that your brother or brother-in-law?
The brother, he's home.
Yeah,
He's well. He's had many opportunities. He was a correspondent on CNN for a little while.
Excellent.
He did The Amazing Race. He's
excellent.
Had a good life, but those words, you know, and the way that you delivered that, they rang true.
I mean, that was one of my most meaningful. I still care. That's why I still on my reel. I still, you know, it was really impactful for a lot of people, and I did a lot of research, and you know, I know that it resonates with a lot of people. So I'm so glad to be able to have, you know, that impact. And they used that thing for like the whole season. So for my first role, it was like great because they're like every episode for like months they're showing.
You're getting to.
Yeah, they're showing me my face, and I'm like, okay, well, cool. You know?
Well, Diego and I finally got to sit down. We don't have a lot of time in front of the TV because of what we do, and but when we do watch series, we pretty much just sit and veg out and watch the whole thing. So Stranger Things, we got to finally get called up on that. Yeah. And as we were watching, I was like, oh my God, there's Miles! But it's one of those things that you like, as somebody who knows you, you think, that is Miles. But then you go, no, is that really Miles? Yeah, so then I put it on my Facebook, and you were like, yeah, that was me.
Oh yes, that's right. Yes, that's right. Yeah, that's me. You know, it's funny. I didn't audition for that role. I auditioned for 2 other roles, and well, I don't even know if it's still a story here, but you know, it's just one of those things because I thought I was going to play the father of there's a little black kid on there. I don't remember his name, but apparently they made that role into like a extra role or something. I don't know what they did. They reduced the role or something like that. So when they offered me a role in the show, it was not what I expected. So I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I'll pass.
Right.
And so I passed on the other role they were offering me, and then they came back a few weeks later and said, hey, they want me to do 2 episodes, being this, you know, this other guy. And I said, all right, well, who knew? I didn't know that Stranger Things was going to turn into this.
Right.
You know,
nobody
phenomenon.
Did, yeah.
You know, I had no idea, but yeah, and then so I just took the next one that came up because they were only filming for a few more weeks. And we said, well, who knows what's coming back? But now it's just a great show, and it's funny because Millie Bobby Brown, my wife bumped into their family, and you know we're from England as well, and so are they. So we had lunch. This is before I did the show, so we went over to the house and you know had tea and
nice.
This kind of thing. Yeah. So she's just amazing talent.
Wow. Wow. Well, you've had some great experiences so far. What's the future for Miles? That's kind of a question, but
no, that's a fine question. You know, I don't know if people get scared when I say this, but for me, you know, first of all, I'm just very pleased where I am right now. I mean, you know, to be able to be on a Marvel series is like a dream. You know, you know, working in Marvel, Disney. I grew up watching, you know, Marvel, and you know, and I get to work with some amazing. My castmates are just great. My wife is Gloria Rubin, like, you know, well, you know, it's just amazing. And the kids, Aubrey and Olivia, the whole cast is just amazing, you know. And I forgot the original question you asked me, but what's next? So, you know, I'm hoping that we do this show for years to come. But for me, I'm really looking to do a couple of films a year. In the perfect world, if I can do the show, and we do like 10 episodes a season, so I have time to go and jump and do a movie or two a year, and I'm good with that. I'd love to be able to do those things that Morgan Freeman was doing when he was my age. I was told I have gravitas, and a lot of the roles he played, I could see myself doing those type of roles. So I'm hoping to fill that space.
Well, you're so smooth on camera.
Oh, thank you.
You just have a really nice. It just resonates really well. So I see great things.
Okay, well, I appreciate that.
Since I am the fortune teller. So I have for you some Twix. This is just to remind you that you're a gift in life, and as we grow, we also have eyes on us. And so this is just I always want to encourage my guests to always keep in mind that they are a gift, and they do have eyes upon them, and that as we grow, we also have to help newcomers coming up through the tunnel.
Absolutely.
So if you have any advice to give, and that's what you're doing right now, you're educating and inspiring. So if you have any advice to give to somebody who wants to get into this profession, what would you say? Yeah,
I would say, okay, like the pastor said to us, discover, develop, distribute. So discover the thing that you are good at. Some people might be good at high-end drama. I like high-end drama, but some people might be good with comedy. Some people might have a really great look and and really handsome. They might be good for soap opera, but embrace what you are, instead of trying to force your way into other things. And then you have to do the work, And I used to coach a little bit, and I would see people come and they want to jump on the bandwagon with acting, but they don't want to work. It's not, you can't go do a class once a week for a month and think you're going to be an actor. You have to work. So be willing to put the work in.
Yeah.
And if you're willing to put the work in, eventually it'll start happening. And then the little breaks lead to the big break, because we're here in Atlanta in this small market. Now for some other reasons I had to kind of come out of this market. I'm still in this market, but I also was in the New York market. I was in some other markets. So I thought my big break would come from there, because I was doing series regular auditions all the time there, so I thought it was coming there at some point, but it ended up coming from the Southeast.
Look at
so
that.
Yeah, so it's here for the taking. Push, work hard, and work smart, and don't be. I had this is probably the best piece of advice I'm going to give you. Okay, I remember one of my early agents told me, "Oh, make sure you know all the lines and be perfect," and it had me all shook. I'm like, okay, I got to be perfect, I got to get it exactly right. And I became a slave to the script, to the sides, and trying to do it be exactly like how I saw it, with the exclamation points. I'm yelling at those points. No, you got to create something. Bring a character. Create a character that makes people sit forward, like and sit up when you're doing your work, and then people will keep calling you back, and you will have your opportunity to shine.
And that is it. When I saw your cut on Army Wives, that's what it made me do. It made me lean forward. Yes.
Well,
yes.
That's all right. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yes.
Candy and coffee. Thank you guys for being here for this segment. Miles, thank you so much for taking your time and being here and helping to educate Atlanta. It's so important. If you guys have any questions, please say hello to Miles in the comments below. And if you have any questions, please leave them below, and we'll be glad to get back in touch with you.